realise when the actual fire comes, the air is full of skeleton leaves, bits of burning branches, tissue. So you're talking a massive amount of fire. It was making its own thunderstorms. It was making its own lightning. Everything here burnt on this side. You can see this was a beautiful parkland that people could camp on. And that house was completely destroyed there. The fire got up to the one on the hill. It ringed that completely, but they stopped it actually getting into the house, which was amazing. This one obviously is gone. All this was on fire. And my neighbours, as you can see, they all burnt. The fire was coming out of here from the roots under the ground, lifted all the concrete on the driveway, and there was branches everywhere, which we've cleaned up. We've done a lot, believe it or not. It doesn't look like much. The windows were burnt underneath and blinds went through them, so this was a double window, but it's been smashed to pieces. So we've had to pick glass. These floors are less than 12 months old, and they're probably wrecked in a lot of places because the glass came down into the cupboard and on the floor. You clean and you can't keep it clean, which everybody laughs at me because I keep cleaning it. After the fires, we were evacuated a day and a half before the fires hit to a friend's house, and we lived there for 3 months. So yeah, we were sort of desperate to get our own place, which this is community housing. That's surrounding the town. So that gives you an idea of how high the fires were. Listen, it's not over, we're still struggling here, but it's been a long, hard fight for anything if you're from Sarsfield.
Okay, the fires that we're talking about are in southeastern Australia. Australia and Victoria is that part there, and we are in approximately that location there. The fires basically were in that area, quite a large area, and the ones, there were also fires at the time that went all the way up to there. Okay, and then in Victoria, where we actually are, is Bensdale, and Sarsfield is there. Bensdale is a regional town with tourism, agriculture and horticulture being its main income, and then you have the smaller villages like Sarsfield with forest and farmland around them. The people in these places are more resilient. They're used to hardship of drought and, on this occasion, fire. We've lived in the country for about 50 years, and this is the third bushfire we've been near. It's scary, but it's part of life.
Our preserves that we get off our orchard, the fruits off the orchard, and we make a few jams. We've got some honey that is made, homegrown tomatoes, syrup, store a bit of wine in here. It's pretty much fireproof too. The inside walls, they're really, really thick. I don't know, pretty thick. It's supposed to be good for fireproofing, but we haven't tested it, and hopefully we won't. We were lucky it stopped before it got to us. The fires have seemed to be much more horrific. They've just become so much more powerful and so much more frightening. Once upon a time it was sort of the odd occasion, but now it's becoming more prevalent, and you can just see it. The whole thing is changing, the ecosystem, and well, it's become scarier.
I've got 5 children in care, ranging from the age of 19 to 2-year-old. There were kids' Christmas stuff that was still there. A lot of our stuff was still there. The dining area. So then this here was the wash house. The house had probably been in our family for about 25, 26 years. So my mum and dad lived there. I moved out there after they'd passed away. But it was still that connection for the whole of our family as a meeting place for us, whether it be, you know, our cultural side, our Indigenous side, or what's happening within our communities. This is my nephew's room. This is Dylan. That's Dylan here. And that's Azariah there. Azariah.
Azariah.
We're living in town now and, you know, smaller house. It's just not that same feel, you know, that we had out there. It's not that open environment, you know, you can go at the back and sit and enjoy the environment. It's just, we just don't like it in here, so.
No, we burned it down. I just started radiation treatment down at Trelby, which is about an hour and a half away. I had 6 weeks of radiation on my neck.
And your head was just swimming, you know. I'm worried about Les with the radiation and worried about up here. Oh, God. We'd come back from radiation, wasn't it? That was before we even started cleaning up.
True.
All our fences down, everything's burnt.
There used to be a carport down there, 3-bay carport, and then there was a house just here.
After I finished radiation, we got a caravan set up in between here and the caravan. We sleep in the caravan and live in a shed here.
26 years we've been out here and it was just devastating. Devastating to lose everything. But 6 months later now, and even now, we write everything down because, you know, it's just so much to comprehend still in our head. Even to go shopping, I've got to write it down, you know. I would go into town and think, why am I here?
This is just everything from proving who we are, insurance things, date of births, everything required 2 or 3 copies of everything. This is the original one that they did for the relief centre. When the fires went through, if you rang your insurance company, they said, oh, due to the floods and fires in Sydney, there's a backlog of, you know, cases, so we'll get back to you, please leave your number. When we rang the bushfire recovery people, it was 48 hours before they could get back to you, and their excuse was because of what happened in Sydney. So the media and the government was sort of focusing on Sydney, but Bairnsdale and Sarsfield, we were forgotten.
Yes, we feel as though we've been forgotten by the government, and everything's so slow in being formulated.
I'm still waiting for counselling, which I applied for in January. I still haven't heard anything.
It's just a waiting game. Just a waiting game.
It's just deflating. And you just feel deflated and defeated most of the time. And you're banging your head against brick walls with all the paperwork and all the bureaucracy that goes with it. Soul destroying, I suppose, is the word you'd use. It's the hardest part. It's just not being able to go home, to feel like you're in transit still, that you're just waiting. You feel like you're in a motel waiting to go back to your life, and your life's just stopped. And you've got this other life that you've got to live, which has got all this stress involved. But there's nothing you can do about it. Your hands are tied. And every time you try and get 1 foot forward, something else happens and you knock back 100 squares again. So it's difficult. It makes you quite crazy.
Australia has a predominant of eucalyptus or gum trees that have grown over time to be resilient to fire. You can see within days of a fire the plant starts to shoot, and then they will regrow new trunks from those areas. There's gums, but no wattles. Wattle. Another tree that is predominant in our forest is the acacia, which we call a wattle. Its seeds need the heat and the nutrient from water that has ash that then stimulates them, and within a matter of weeks it starts to shoot. Here shoots everywhere. So it is renewal of a forest. The old rubbish gets burnt and goes back into fertiliser on the ground, and the understory that would stifle the forest is kept in check by fire with lightning, and the Aboriginals used to do it as well.
Growing up in that and hearing from the old people, you know, to do the burns, you know, they knew what time of the year to do it. There's different times and plants and that you've got to take into consideration whether they help fuel the fire and that. So, yeah, for the government, to not be looking at the Indigenous side of the way they do the burning and offs and all that is, well, it's paid, hasn't it? Healing for us, it's just being there in the environment, the land, the environment, you know, the past.
I feel good when I come out here, you know, even if it's just coming out here to sit in the car. It's still that connection I still feel I need to do. You know, some days, you know, you get a bit down and still, I feel I need to still come out here and have that connection with being out here. Still, I think we all do that, you know, within our own space of time. You know, at the end of the day, for me, it's, you know, the resilience, you know, you got to keep living, you know, because our parents always taught us, you know, be strong within ourselves, within our beliefs, our culture and all that stuff. We've just got to keep going, you know, no matter what the situation is. It's about you doing better for yourselves, I suppose, and not letting that negativity, you know, take more of you than what needs to be.
Since time began, Australia has been a country of fire. The forest is being renewed, and the people who have decided to stay, they're being renewed as well, and they'll never be the same again, but their life will be richer because of it.
So after the fires, once the ash is settled and the rains come, then the grass grows. It's a rejuvenation.
So before and after, this was a couple of days after the fires, and this is now, this was only a couple of weeks ago. The trees, the same. It's just amazing. It'll never be the same. Never be the same. But you've just got to, you know, just
got to get on with it.
You've just got to get on with it and take each day as it comes. Make it as homely as you can. It's been a constant, everyday job to get to where we are now. We've worked hard every day, clearing the block, moving trees and cutting wood and moving debris and so forth. Now that it's all clear, it'll be nice to see a new house being built. The sooner the better, so you can,
Well, it's part of the healing process,
yes.
isn't it? Once you can get some sort of normalcy back in your life, that's what you need.
It's the legalities that are holding everything back.